All right, my shop is a bit of a disaster right now, but I've got my side table glue or dry fitted, and it took me, I just spent a couple hours just racking my brain on what I wanted to do with that bottom shelf. So you can't fix it to the legs inside because it'll blow it out when it expands or contracts. So you have to allow for that movement. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting notches in my shelf here, and I'm on my last one, and I thought, well, maybe I should show it, maybe I shouldn't, but what I ended up doing was cutting a test piece here, and while I was cutting that piece, this square here just, let's see, which way does it go? This way, I guess. Anyway, it because it's between the fence and the blade, it kind of exploded out of there. So I learned that I needed to cut this in two pieces. First, I went with the long grain first, and then the short grain. So, but I was able to use this as a template to scribe a line on the back side here to avoid any tear out, and that's worked out really well. So I've got one last corner to go here, and let me show you how that's being done. So I've got this kind of right angle crosscut slit I made because I have a THK bearing rail on top of my fence, and that gives me the ability to do this tall work like this. And I pushed it up against the fence and made this cut in my first pass, like so, or just one pass on that. Then when I got done with those four cuts, I now position this about halfway, and I'll make my first drop and then my final cut here. And on the back side, this has been scribed already. So let me just show you what happens here. You can see the tear out I got there from that blade coming through. Then I'll show you the results after this cut, and the difference that scribed line makes. Now you can see, let me see if I can zoom in on that. Get that to focus here. And you can see that's a nice clean cut. So I'll show you what I've got in mind here in a little bit. I don't know if it's going to work or not. If it doesn't, I got to make myself another shelf. Okay, here's the concept I'm shooting for. I'm going to have two steel pins in the back that will locate the shelf. And you can see here I've got a mock-up basically. But this is a through data, but it would be stopped. And the pins would be the correct length so that when you drop it on the pin, it'll give you this reveal up front. And it also will locate it for the reveal in here. Now, the part that's going to be a bit of a challenge, I guess, is for me to prove that I can bring that shelf in from the bottom, drop it on there, push it up, put my pin in, and drop the shelf back onto that pin. So that's what I'm trying to do here. Alright, it's been a few days since my last video, but this is the finished side table, and I am very pleased with the way this thing turned out. The concept I had in my head for creating this shelf and allowing for movement, expansion and contraction of the wood. From the concept in my head to reality, it's fantastic. So what I did, as you saw in my other videos, my locating pins and hoping everything would turn out well, it did. So this is the back side of the table, and you just pull these two pins that hold the shelf up in the back here. I always have trouble with this one. You got to pull it straight out. There we go. And just drop it down. Pick the table up. And the shelf can come off. So what I did was located these two pins in the front. They're, originally in my original plan, I wanted this shelf to be 4 inches from the top of the shelf to be 4 inches from the floor. So these pins are located at 3 1/4 to the top of the radius, or the top of the diameter of the pin, and these in the back are 3 inches to the top. So that 1/4 inch offset, you have to have that, because on the shelf, you can see here the dado I made. That allows for that pin to settle into it. So these were precisely cut at 1 inch, 1/4 inch deep, 1/4 inch thick. Basically what I just used is a 1/4 inch spiral bit and ran a 1/4 inch slot. So that worked out great. And that locates the shelf then front to back and side to side, because these pins are cut to a precise length as well. And the depth of the hole was about 7/8 of an inch, and so then the pin, because this is a 1 inch dado in the shelf, the pin was supposed to be 2 inches long. Well, in reality, when I put the 2 inch pin in there, I couldn't get the shelf to drop, so I had to grind off a little bit off each pin, and I ended up with a 1.95 inches long, and then my shelf drops on and is located perfectly. So the thing is then is that because it's located here, that keeps the reveal the same up front, but in the back, this shelf then can roll over the top of that pin for any movement that'll happen with changes in humidity. So when I put I'll put this back on here, show you how easy this is. There we are. So you just put it up there, feel it hit those grooves. Pop it into place. Put one pin in and then the other. There you have it. Nice and solid. I mean, you could put books on there if you wanted. That thing's not moving. And it just turned out great. I'm very pleased and happy with this look.